Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to today's session, the second edition of our volunteers webinar. Where are we, guys? Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Who is here and ready to learn? Who is here and ready to learn? Good evening, Samuel. Good evening. Where are we? Call on your friends, your neighbors, your enemies, your partners, your colleagues. Bring them on board. It is time to have a very beautiful session. It is time to gain insight. It is time to gain value. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Samuel, can you hear me? If you can hear me, please let me know. Signify. If you can hear me, please let me know. Good evening, Abbas. Welcome. Welcome on board. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome on board. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Welcome on board. Call on your friends, your colleagues. It is time for us to gain value. Mastering emotional intelligence, your key to leading with impact. Amazing topic, amazing session. Very beautiful. With none other than the most beautiful lady, Comfort Modi. Call on your friends, call on your friends, call on your friends, call on your partners, your colleagues, call on everybody. Hmm. Okay, without wasting so much more of our time, I would like to introduce to us our speaker for tonight, Miss Comfort Mordi, the convener for Fanning Flames, and a very beautiful speaker, a very beautiful lady. This is someone we all witnessed in 10X Business Conference in Abuja, in Bayelsa this year. I want to believe that we all know how good and amazing she is. This is someone who is very good at communication, a public speaker. If you have any form of fear of public speaking, of communicating, Comfort Modi is the perfect go-to person to bring you out of that issue whatsoever it is, as long as it has to do with communication. She's an alumni of Women in Business. She is a mentee of Mrs. Ibukon Awashika. She is an amazing lady. She is value fueled. Let us have none other than the Comfort Modi speak to us tonight on mastering emotional intelligence, your key to leading with impact. She will be coming on board shortly and we would get to hear from her. Okay, let's hold on while she comes on board and speaks to us. While we wait on her coming on board, is there anyone who could share with us what they expect from today's session? Is there anyone who could tell us what they think or believe emotional intelligence is about and how emotional intelligence can help us lead with impact while we wait on our speaker who can help us share one or two things on our topic tonight? I am waiting. I am waiting. I want to believe we prepared for today's session to learn, unlearn, relearn, to do everything that has to do with learning. So I am waiting to hear from us while our speaker comes back on board. What is emotional intelligence? How can you master emotional intelligence? And how best do you think emotional intelligence can help you lead with impact? That is the question while we wait on our speaker. I'm trying to connect with her to confirm her availability. Okay, ma'am, welcome, welcome, ma'am, Comfort. Welcome. Feels so good to
Hi.
have you here tonight. We cannot wait to hear from you, to listen to all the value you're going to spill with us and to us tonight. Welcome, Mrs. Comfort. Welcome for being an amazing lady. Thank you so much in advance for all the amazing things we are going to learn. The floor is yours, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much, Promise. Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm super excited to be here. And I want to say a very big thank you, first of all, to the convener of 10X Business Conference, that is Samuel. I know he's the one that put all of this together. And I want to say a very big thank you to everyone listening to me tonight. I'm particularly happy about the topic I was given to speak on because it's in line with what communication is. And if you know me, you know that I talk about my core is communication. So tonight we're going to be talking about something very, very interesting. And the topic is how to lead with impact, right? How to lead with impact. Okay, so we're going to be talking about what is leadership, mastering emotional intelligence, your key to leading with impact. So we're going to be talking about three key things in this particular topic. The first one is emotional intelligence. The second is leadership. And the third is impact. So, what is leadership? What is impact? And why is emotional intelligence the key? You understand? I know the topic says your key, but I believe that emotional intelligence is not just any key, but the key to leading with impact. So, what is leadership? If you ask some people, they would say it's being in the position of a leader, heading people. But I say that leadership is influence, the ability to make people take decisions, to influence the life of people, right? That is what leadership is. Being in the position to be able to take charge of things, that is what I call leadership to be. So for me, leadership is the ability of any person, right? Either an individual, a person, to influence people, to guide people. That is what leadership is. It's not just being in the position of, oh, I'm the manager or I'm something and they've given me a leadership position. Some people have leadership positions, but they are not leaders because they lack emotional intelligence. So being in the position of a leader, being in the position that makes you the head or controlling others, being in charge doesn't necessarily mean that you're a leader. Leadership comes with influence. John Maxwell will say that everything rises and falls on leadership, right? So if you have a good leader, everything will rise depending on the value system of that particular leader. everything would also fall depending on how valueless or less impactful the leader is. So we are trying to talk about leadership first before we now talk about what do you think impact is, and why is emotional intelligence very key in becoming somebody that leads with impact. The difference between leader A and leader B, and why people without being forced can make a decision, take a decision, and always are influenced by leader B is because of the singular factor of impact and emotional intelligence. So understanding leadership and the key role that emotional intelligence has to play is what is going to help you to be able to be a leader with impact, not just a figurehead or somebody that is just given a leadership post and that is all they are about. I want to know if I have you with me in the house. I want to know if I have you with me. Are you getting what I'm saying? So you have to understand that the first thing is leadership. Then the second thing is how do I become a leader that leads with impact? So when it comes to impact, right? Impact is something that has a strong effect on someone. So impact can be negative or positive, right? So for you to be a leader that has an impact on people, now we are talking about the positive impact, right? Impact is the ability to have an influence, to make a change on something. That is what impact is. So we are going to talk about emotional intelligence tonight, and by God's grace I'll try my best with the little time I have to talk about emotional intelligence as much as I can. So first of all, when you hear what emotional intelligence, what comes to your mind, right? Why is emotional intelligence relevant? You know, most people do not listen because they want to listen to understand. They want to listen because they have an intention to reply. So that is what, the wrong aspect of not understanding what emotional intelligence can happen to you. As a leader, emotional intelligence simply means that the ability to be aware of your emotions. Now, it's not just being aware, to be able to recognize, okay, this is the emotion that I'm trying to bring out now. The ability to recognize your emotions, the ability to understand the emotion that you're having, the ability to also manage your emotion and influence your own emotions and the emotions of others. So let me explain what it means. Emotional intelligence is simply being self-aware, being aware when you want to get pissed off, being aware when your emotions are not sitting right, being aware when you know that you're just getting cranky unnecessarily. So emotional intelligence is the ability to be aware, to recognize. Now, it's not just being aware. You can be aware of something, of an emotion, but not understand that emotion. So emotional intelligence is the ability to, first of all, understand, why am I feeling this way? Recognize that emotion, all right? Then after recognizing the emotion, it's now the next thing is, after being aware of the emotion, being able to recognize the emotion, then you are able to control the emotion. And the most interesting part of emotional intelligence is not just about you. Sometimes you're not the one having misplaced, emotions all about. It could be that people around you or somebody around you is the one that is having misplaced emotions. So emotional intelligence is the ability to influence that person's emotion and not allowing them take charge of your emotion. So let me give a simple example. You're speaking to somebody and you know that this person is intentionally wanting to make you get pissed off. Like they really are getting on your nerves. What can happen if you're emotionally intelligent? The first thing is you want to be aware of what is happening. Okay, this person is trying to get on my nerves. And why is the person trying to do that? It could be because in their own state that time, they are not emotionally stable. Maybe something happened to them, or they are just in not the right frame of mind. Okay, and now you're able to recognize this emotion in them, that okay, this person is not in the right state of mind. There's no need for me to blow this all up. I just need to follow them with wisdom. Do you understand? So it's not about you being able to understand or be aware of your own emotion. It's being able to understand the emotion of the other person that is speaking to you, or the other person that is in the situation at the time. So you want to be aware that, okay, so why is this person trying to get unnecessarily annoyed at me? Is it because they are not in the right emotional state? Or is it because they want people to see me as who I am not? When you're emotionally intelligent, you would not spoil your good name. When you're emotionally intelligent, people cannot make you to be identified as something that you are not. So emotional intelligence is that thing that makes you to see that, oh, this person wants to just get on my nerves. And you are going to tell yourself that it's not going to happen because I am in charge. That's how leaders do. Leaders don't allow others to influence their decisions or to influence their emotions because they are emotionally aware that maybe this person is not in the right frame of mind. So why do I have to go about, making it all a hassle when this person is actually not in the right frame of mind? So emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, the ability to not just recognize, to understand why you're feeling a particular kind of way, right? And to manage that emotion. After you recognize that, oh, I'm acting this way, I'm feeling this way, you are now able to manage the emotion that you're having. That is what emotional intelligence is about. Manage is the key word there. After recognizing, some of you are self-aware, but you don't have the ability to use the knowledge from self-awareness to control your emotions. And it's not just about your emotion, but the emotion of others. So what are the things what are the components, what are the things that come together to make emotional intelligence? So what are the things that will make you say, oh, I am emotionally intelligent? How do you know that? Yes, you are smart, right? You have that emotional wisdom, that emotional intelligence. Because we have different types of intelligence, and emotional intelligence is just one of them that shows that you have social skills and people skills. So we are going to look at some things that fall under the components or the foundations that build emotional intelligence. The first one is increased self-awareness. So self-awareness is the ability to recognize, like you're able to recognize your emotions yourself. You are able to understand that, okay, these are my biases. These are the things that I don't like. These are my own beliefs about life. This is the way I view life. And now, why is it important that you are emotionally, like you are self-aware? Self-awareness helps you as a leader because you're going to interact with people from different phases of life, from different walks of life. And when interacting with these people, there are some people that you've built biases around. Some of you have this belief that anybody that is from this type, this state, is basically like this hasty generalization that somebody that is from this particular tribe or this particular clan or geopolitical zone has this kind of mindset, right? So you already believe that somebody that's from a particular place is like this, somebody that's from this place is like that, or because of your past experiences with people that come from a particular tribe or clan, they have been acting in similar ways. And then you're in a leadership position and somebody is trying to explain something that happened between himself and another person. And, fortunately, as fate will have it, that person that they are trying to report issues about to you is somebody that comes from that particular clan or tribe where you have experienced similar, attitude or attributes from. Being emotionally intelligent and being self-aware, which is the number one component of an emotionally intelligent person, is to tell yourself that I have a bias. So now, being aware of your bias is going to make you to judge fairly. You have to throw your bias, like put it aside. So you might be getting swelled up in your mind. You're like, okay, this person is from this particular tribe and this is how they usually act. But because you are self-aware, number one, of your triggers. You're self-aware of your prejudice. You're self-aware of your biases, your generalization of judgment that you have or perception about that person or that thing. You can now make a fair judgment. Like you can, intentionally tell yourself that the reason I'm feeling this way is because of how I've experienced these people before. And this person might not be the same with other people that I've experienced. Good leaders understand where to draw the line. They understand that self-awareness is key and perception or judgment before listening is not good. So somebody that is emotionally intelligent is somebody that is self-aware of all of the feelings that they are having, of their biases, of their beliefs, of their belief system. All right, their experiences in the past that they know can hinder them from making the right decision. So being aware is important, and that awareness now helps you to build empathy. It helps you to say, okay, this is the reason why I'm thinking this way about this person. This is the reason why I might not want to be fair in my judgment. And then you put those biases aside and try to listen objectively. So what is the second thing that is a component of emotional intelligence that can make you say that, oh, I am emotionally smart, I'm emotionally intelligent? It is empathy development. Empathy. putting yourself in the shoes of others, trying to imagine, like, the ability to understand whoever is speaking to you, to understand their intentions, to understand their emotions, to understand why they are reacting the way that they are reacting. Because for you to say that you're emotionally intelligent, it means that you have learned to detach yourself from a particular, scenario, even if you've not experienced that before, and being able to say that, oh, maybe this is why this person is acting this way. Understanding when to make excuses for people, and understanding when this person is doing something intentionally to get you pissed off, or this is just their lifestyle. So I'm going to give another example. When you know that somebody that you are a very close friend with, that person is somebody that really doesn't get pissed off easily, that person is somebody that is very calm and everything, but for one reason or the other, one day they just get angry, they're just flaring up unnecessarily. If you're emotionally intelligent and smart, you don't need to give them back the energy that they are giving to you. Why? Because you know that this person is usually not this way. Do you understand? You know that this person is usually not this way. So you don't have to give them that kind of energy. What you need to do is ask yourself that, why is Nkechi, or I don't know, I'm just trying to give a name. So why is my friend acting this way today? Why are they all cranky? Why are they all worked up? Try to put yourself in their shoe. That is empathy development. Try to understand why this person is acting like this. So maybe that's the experience they have about life. And you are willing to give a listening ear. You're willing to correct them where it's appropriate to correct them, or just put yourself in their shoes. If you think about leaders or people that you really admire today, that you can say that you will go any length for, people that you can say actively influence you, think about them right now as I'm speaking to you. You would see that they have these characteristics, they have these attributes in them, always ready to put themselves in your shoe, always ready to think about others. That is what good leaders do. You're not just in that position because you are put there as a figurehead, but you understand the place of influence. And influence comes when you are able to put others first, right? You're always ready to think about what people are going through and put yourself in their shoes before passing judgment. So the second thing I said that is a component of emotional intelligence is empathy development, all right? Being able to put yourself in people's shoe. Then another thing is active listening. Now, active listening is the ability to give somebody your rapt attention, to be present in conversations when you're speaking to someone. And how do you build the skill of active listening? You build the skill of active listening by focusing on the message that is being delivered to you. You're focusing on what the person is saying to you, all right? You're focusing on what the person is trying to tell you at the time, not whatever you've heard that somebody said about this, say this person did it, say this person did that. You're not focused on what other people have said about that person, but you are present, you're in the moment, listening to them, not listening with the intention to judge or listening with the intention to give a response, but listening with an intention to understand their perspective in the moment that they are speaking to you. So active listening is another component of emotional intelligence. It's your ability to give somebody your rapt attention, putting your phone aside. Good leaders, when you're having conversations, right? I know many of us are guilty of this, but when you're listening to somebody, actively try to be present. Maintain eye contact. Shake your head when you have to shake your head, so they know that you're listening to them. Don't just slouch unnecessarily when you are when you're like having a conversation with them. Give them your full attention. Listen when you have to listen. Ask questions when you're not clear about what they are saying. Paraphrase so that you know that you and the person that is speaking to you are on the same page. Right? Don't be defensive. Don't just, as you are listening, you are already having an answer that you want to give. Like you're focusing on judging rather than, giving them your listening ears, and really giving them your listening ears. Some people say, oh, we listen, we don't judge, or I will listen to you, I won't judge you. But it's a lie. The moment you are speaking, they're already judging you, and everything you're saying, they don't listen to you. They don't speak out one or two lines, and that is what they are holding on to. Those kinds of people are not emotionally intelligent. An emotionally intelligent person would listen without judging, would listen without having an answer already prepared. They will listen with empathy, trying to put themselves in that person's shoe. They will listen to read your body language to know if you are trying to be manipulative. They will listen to understand where the person is coming from and where the person is going to. That is emotional intelligence for you. Being an active listener, being present, not pressing your phone, not acting like you're tired of listening to the person, not cutting the person up when they are speaking unnecessarily. Some persons, when they are speaking to you, after two lines, they say, "Oh, I have something to say." Not allowing the person that you are speaking to, not have a full flow of their thought or expressing themselves because you're always cutting them off every minute, every second. So active listeners, being an active listener is one component of being an emotionally intelligent person. Then another thing that shows that you're an emotional intelligent person, that is a foundation, all right, of emotional intelligence, is your ability to self-regulate. The ability to self-regulate. So what does self-regulation means? It means that, like those irons that we use to iron our clothes, the ones that have self-regulation are those irons that when they get too hot, they quickly go off so that your clothes doesn't get burnt. A lot of people don't have the ability to self-regulate, and that is why when they get from 0 to 100, they just blow up the roof and destroy everything. An emotionally intelligent person is someone that can self-regulate. Someone that is not just aware, like I said, when I was defining emotional intelligence, is not just aware of their emotions, but is also somebody that can manage their emotions and that of others around them. So you are able to self-regulate. Do you understand? You're able to think and say, okay, I should calm down. I'm already getting too angry. I'm already blowing this thing out of proportion. And then you just either you keep quiet or you walk out of the scene if you have to, so that you just self-regulate. Right? So self-regulation is important. It helps you to, avoid anything that would stain your white, or helps you to avoid any defensive or reactive or inappropriate responses. So when you see that you're beginning to get pissed off unnecessarily, sometimes you just have to pause, calm down, and think before you speak. One thing that works that I always tell my students when I teach them emotional intelligence is that your nervous system can sense when you're feeling angry. Your brain can sense when you're feeling angry. And at that point, there's a part of the brain that, when it comes to emotions, is always has a higher percentage of, taking control of you, except you've been able to build this self-regulation. That is why when somebody is in love, they don't think very well with their head. Is that part of the brain that also controls every other of our emotions. That when somebody is angry, they can break something, but when they get to their self, when they get self-aware, they begin to say, "How did I do this? When did this happen?" So self-regulation is the ability to know when you're getting to that state and you do something. So you're going to practice it. It's called a breathing practice that helps to calm your nerves. So you're going to take in air from your stomach as much as you can and hold it for the counting of 1, 2, 3, 4, and you breathe out and you repeat it. It helps you to stay calm. If at the situation you find yourself, you cannot just walk out. Then another practice you can do is just to count 1 to 10 and being quiet. Just count 1 to 10 and be quiet and be looking at the person. 1 to 10. Or you're emotionally aware to the point that you know where this person is trying to do, what this person is trying to do, and where this person is trying to get you to. You know that this person wants you to get angry, and you tell yourself that I cannot allow myself to be a puppet in the hands of another person. And you are aware of their emotions, and you're just laughing and looking at them because you know that, oh, this is what you want to do. You want people to see me as a bad person, or you want people to see me as somebody that doesn't have control or lacks self-control. And when it's appropriate, just walk out. All right. So that's how you are able to build self-regulation. And then you begin to speak to yourself. I will not blow this out of proportion. I would self-regulate. I am in control. I am in charge of myself. These are things that you can say to yourself that will help you to build self-regulation over time. All right. I want to know if you can hear me and if you're still with me, because I cannot see any reactions or anything. I just want to know that people are still listening to me. Are you with me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hi, Promise. Are you there? I just want to know that I'm not just talking to myself. Okay, let me just continue. I think, I don't know. All right. So when it comes to another skill that shows that you're emotional intelligent, like another component of emotional intelligence, it's motivation. Motivation, self-motivation, the ability to self-motivate yourself. Emotionally intelligent people are people that are aware of their emotions, like I said. So whether their emotion is right or whether their emotion is wrong, all right, they are able to. I think I'm saying something. So they are able to control their. They're able to control like how they do that. Thank you very much. Just wanted to know what was saying. Self motivation, the ability to motivate yourself. Some of you cannot motivate yourselves if there's nobody pushing you or there's nothing that's motivating you. If you see leaders that you really see as very successful and all, these are people that have learned to self motivate regardless of what happens around them. They personally have learned the art of self-regulating themselves. Like they don't need somebody else to validate them. They don't need somebody else to tell them how to be, to take an action. I know that there are days when you don't feel like you don't feel like standing up, you don't feel like taking the step that you have to take, you don't feel like doing any of those things. But then you need to understand that you should be somebody able to impact. You should be able to impact first one. Impact does not come with taking steps. Impact does not happen when you are not to do certain things that would make people to see the change that you're trying to in their life. So there are times when you do that much. There are times when you would not want to stand up and do the right thing that you need to do. You're so tired. But emotionally intelligent people are that to motivate themselves. You are able to motivate yourself because you have seen the bigger picture and you have vision for where you're going to. So you can see that emotional intelligence indeed is the key to being a leader that has impact on people. You might not want to go out there and talk to those that you are leading. You might be afraid to take a step.
Hi everyone. I want to believe her network is super terrible at the moment, but before she comes back on board, how has the session been? Hope we are learning a whole lot. I have been jotting down a whole lot of things. Emotional intelligence, the definition of emotional intelligence, how to know that you are emotionally intelligent. So, can someone please share with us one or two things he or she has learned so far? One or two things that has stood out for you, one or two things you probably unlearned or relearned tonight. Emotional intelligence, your key to living with impact. I am waiting on our responses. For me, I know that emotional intelligence is not just being aware, it is being able to recognize too. You could be aware of emotions, but you're not able to like differentiate between fear and fright, sadness and anger, happiness and joy, stuff like that. So I want to hear from us all, what is emotional intelligence? What have we learned so far to be the definition of emotional intelligence? How do you motivate yourself? Can you self motivate? Do you actively listen to people? I want to hear. Okay, so our speakers would need a few minutes, and while we wait for her to come back on board, I would love to hear from us all. I want to hear what we have to say. I want to hear what we have to say. Okay, oh no, I promise Chizoba, I'm very interesting. What is interesting to you? What exactly is getting your attention? What are you learning from tonight's session? I believe we all can hear me. Promise, Florence, Miriam, Pelumi. I believe we all are still here and can hear me. So, can we quickly share what we are learning, what is standing out for us tonight while we wait on our speaker to get connected back? Her network is unfortunately bad at the moment. Who is here? If you can hear me, please react, send a fire emoji so that I would be sure that we all can hear me loud and clear. If you can hear me, give me a fire emoji so that I would be sure we can hear and I would be sure we are also following. Where are we? Where are we? This is a very interesting topic that we can learn, and if mastered right, if learned right, can help us in our day-to-day activities, can help us in our daily dealings with people. Being someone filled with empathy or emotionally intelligent is one of the keys to leading with impact in today's society, in our workplace today. And I would really, really love for us all to intentionally engage, intentionally listen, intentionally learn, and put whatever thing we learn tonight into practice. Okay, so our speaker is back on board. Good to have you back on board, ma'am. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Hams. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I just got kicked out, so I had to connect to another Wi-Fi. Um, all right. So as I was saying, one more thing that has, good leaders that are emotionally intelligent. The characteristic of good leaders are emotional intelligence. I said, like, the ability to self-motivate. You're able to motivate yourself even when it's not what you want to do, right? Everybody that you are in love with as a leader, or you place in a very high state, these people are people that have learned the art of being able to self-regulate. And sorry, network again. I don't know. I don't know. Don't know. All right. Saying that good leaders understand the ability to self motivate, right? As a good leader, you should be able to motivate yourself without, you know, people forcing you to do that. Everybody that you admire are people who, regardless of how they feel, because emotional intelligence is not just about anger management and all. It's about you being able to understand every of your emotions. When you feel down, when you feel like you don't want to do stuff, any emotion that you have, emotional intelligence is the ability to be aware of the emotion, to manage the emotion, and be able to manage the emotions of others. Right? If you are not able to be aware of your your own emotions, how then will you be able to manage the emotions of others? So now let's talk about something else that is very, very, very important. Okay, so let's talk about why listening is important. Like I said, I want us to like go in depth on why active listening is important as a very powerful component, or structure when it comes to emotional intelligence. As much as we all want, to, as much as we all want people to want to talk to people, we also want to be, also want people to listen to us. For every relationship that has failed, if you sit back and listen and think about every relationship that didn't work out, it's because the person was not giving you listening ears. So, as a leader, if you don't learn how to listen properly, listen actively, it is going to affect how people see you as a leader. It is really, really going to affect how people see you as a leader. All right. So you need to learn how to listen actively as a leader. You need to learn how to infuse empathy when listening, right? You need to let people know that you really care about them. These are the things that build impact. People can forget every single thing about you, but they will never forget how you showed up for them and how you genuinely cared for them. So, how do you build self awareness? I want to round up. The first way to build self awareness is to practice mindfulness. You need to understand the things that trigger you, your emotions. You cannot practice mindfulness. You cannot practice self awareness without understanding mindfulness. You cannot provide solution to a problem that you've not first of all identified. So you need to ask yourself, why do I always feel triggered when this thing happens? What are the things that trigger me? And how can you be aware of triggers? It's by journaling. So every day you have a journal and you put day, you reflect at the end of every day. Oh, how did I react throughout today? What was the thing that made me, get so pissed off and flame up when this person spoke to me today about something? You note it down. If today you did not flame up about anything or something happened, you're able to manage the situation. You tell yourself, what was the thing I did rightly today? And why was I able to manage the situation, but I was not able to manage the other situation? So at the end of every week, you look through all of the things you've journaled and you begin to see patterns. And that is how you begin to practice mindfulness. And you are aware of your triggers. All right. Then another thing is you try to reflect on your past conversations. So you're having conversations with people, you need to learn to reflect on listening gaps. Okay, when I was listening to this person, I think this was where I did not listen rightly. This was where I did not do what I was supposed to do rightly, and all of that. Another way you can practice mindfulness is by meditating. In the morning, you meditate on your triggers that you've identified. In the morning before you go out, you sit with yourself, have conversations with yourself, and try to get clarity on why you're doing or reacting the way that you've been reacting. And people have been talking about you in that particular way, that, oh, you're always reacting this way. Or you've also, noticed it yourself that you act this particular kind of way. And you sit with yourself and you try to understand, why am I acting this way? Is it because I have an unhealed trauma? Is it because there's something that I have not healed from? Is it because I am not giving myself enough break? Is it because I am not being, empathetic enough? Sitting down with yourself and meditating can solve at least 80% of your problems when it comes to building and maintaining the right emotions. Another way that you can become an active listener and practice mindfulness is by pausing before you respond. When somebody speaks to you, you don't have to immediately give an answer. You can count 1 to 5 in your mind before you respond. So you're giving yourself time to reflect on your response. These are the things that will make people to see you as a leader with impact, not just a leader that just speaks and you just throw your words anyhow. Oh, this is how I am. This is I know I want to be real. I want to say the truth. The truth will lose its essence if you don't have a mindfulness. Um, so the truth will not set free, like I said, if the truth is not being said in the right way. Why is the Bible says something about the truth? It says, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." So, as a leader, if you know you have issues with speaking to people in a constructive manner, even when you want to pass the truth to them, in the end, that truth you're supposed to say to them should be able to meet up with the end goal for which you are saying the truth. So if the truth is the reason you're saying the truth is to correct somebody or make them aware of something that they are not doing, ask yourself, how do I say this thing in a way that they get what I'm trying to say, and there's a correction in their lifestyle and in the way they perceive and see and do things. All right. So these are the ways that you can build emotional intelligence. Be self-aware. All right. You also don't forget that you need to learn to self-regulate, learn to be an active listener. And leadership, like I said earlier, is not about being in a leadership position or just, put there or having that charisma to lead. It's your ability to emotionally, be intelligent and control the emotions of others, being able to influence and manage not just your emotions, the emotions of others. So in the end, people can say that yes, I can testify that Comfort or Promise or whoever is listening to me right now is a leader that is emotionally intelligent. Or you bring issues to her, she doesn't judge you, she listens and is able to, constructively give a response to it. So I want you to tell yourself right now that from today, you commit to listening not just with your ears, but with your heart and with your mind. So that's what I want you to tell yourself right now. You can type it in the comments. From today, I, Comfort, say your name. I commit to listening, not just with my ears, but with my heart and with my mind. I commit to listening, not just with my ears, but with my heart and with my mind. I will begin with one conversation at a time where I truly seek to understand rather than to reply. You might be wondering why I'm dwelling on listening, but listening is one key factor in emotional intelligence. I know we don't have much of the time, and I know that the network interrupted us at some point. But if you can take some of the things that you heard me say and apply it to leading, you're going to be a leader that will not be forgotten so easily, and you're going to begin to see positive impacts in your life, in your relationships with others, and as a leader. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Comfort. Thank you so much for this beautiful but short session. I learned a whole lot. I learned a whole lot. Thank you so much for sharing with us from your wealth of wisdom on the importance of emotional intelligence, the definition of emotional intelligence. I, for one, at least, have learned that I need to be actively listening to people that speak with me. And I would like to hear from our audience what they've learned. And if there are any questions, please drop your questions. This is the time for questions. If you have any confusions, please drop your questions, drop your confusions, and let our beautiful Miss Comfort clear you on that. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was very beautiful. It was very straight to the point.
Thank you. So I don't know if they have anybody has questions for me.
Please, let's drop our questions. Let us drop our questions. Okay, in the absence of questions, I think I want to ask a question. Can you hear me, Ma?
Yes, I
Okay, so
can.
um, let's say you're an individual that people
Okay.
perceive to not like having hard conversations, in quotes, hard
Okay.
conversations, and but you know that it's not like you do not like to have these conversations. You're being careful not to hurt the other person's feelings by more like showing the truth, like explaining and clearing out the truth before them, especially in cases where they are probably in the wrong. So, in order
Okay.
not to make this person feel bad, knowing very well that they are wrong, you just want to let everything be. You just keep quiet. How do you address these situations, especially where people keep telling you over and over, try to have hard conversations? But it's not like you cannot have hard conversations. You're just trying to protect the emotions of the other people. I think that's just about the question.
That's a very beautiful question. So the first thing I would say is that this person in question is not emotionally intelligent. The thing is,
Okay.
hard conversations be had. Hard conversations must be had, especially if you value that friendship or if you value that relationship with that person. And you cannot, there's a word you use that I actually forgot right now. You can manage or influence the emotions of others, but you cannot control how people should feel. Now, what I think the person needs to do is understand that how much can I keep up with this attitude that this person is giving to me? Because you cannot keep saying you don't want something and you're not talking about it, and the person doesn't even know that they're hurting you, right? So I think
Yeah.
I'll just give you some techniques to having hard conversations. I thought I spoke about this some time ago. And the first thing is you want to be aware when the person is in a good mood. That's number one. Then number two, the atmosphere where you're having that hard conversation also matters. There are some kinds of conversations you want to have with
Yeah.
somebody that you need to be able to read the room. Is it the right time to talk about this? And where do I think I need to have this conversation? There are some conversations you want to have. You intentionally take the person on a date to a quiet, solemn place, right? Somewhere where you know the atmosphere is going to be a covering for whatever it is you want to say. Emotional intelligence is really being smart at, to be able to, I can say that it's somewhat by being diplomatic when you have to be diplomatic. But hard conversations have to be had. So when you get there, instead of using trying to point it to the person that this is what they are doing, sometimes you just want to say we, so that they don't come up being defensive. Okay, so when you immediately say that
I think the network is really bad. I think your network is really bad.
so the person immediately becomes defensive when you can you hear me?
Yes, 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 I can hear you.
Okay, the network is really doing me a lot of shege tonight. So the
Sorry.
person immediately becomes defensive when you just come and you throw it at them like that. But number one, you want to be aware that this person really values this relationship. You must have those hard conversations. Else, the hurt will keep on happening. Another way you can deal with hard conversations is, if you cannot face the person, you can text that person. So when I was still used when I still used to be a very shy person, I used to run away from hard conversations. What I used to do, somebody hurts me and I really care about them, I'll wait till it's midnight, maybe around 1, and I'll send them a WhatsApp message and off my phone just so that I can send that message to them. And the thing is that when you send that message to them, you always definitely feel very light. You feel like you've taken the weight off your shoulders. I will tell them in the most kind way that I can, but I will make sure that I tell them, because it's important. You think you've forgotten or you've healed from it, but you've not. That thing is somewhere down there, and one day you will not be able to take it anymore, and that will be the end of that relationship or friendship or whatever. So just find a means to tell them. Find a means to tell them. Either you tell them by buying a fine note, like a very beautiful, what's this cards, these beautiful cards. Just let them know that what they are doing to you, you don't like it. Find a way to tell them. Communication is not just by spoken words alone. You can also communicate through your text written, right? So you can write it and tell them that I don't like what you're talking about. And if you know that is something that you have to meet them head on, you need to speak about it. Look for an atmosphere that is okay. Look for when they are calm and just tell them how you need to tell them. But be kind and be empathetic and try to use the word we. If we don't learn to respect each other's boundaries, can you see how it is going? If we don't learn to
Yeah.
respect each other's boundaries, it's going to affect our relationship. So I understand that you've told me some things you don't like me to do, but I noticed that maybe you're not really getting that I don't like XYZ thing, and it's affecting our relationship. But if you come out and say, I don't like, you just come defensive, you just come and make them feel like there's nothing good about them. They put on that defensive shield and they might not want to listen to you. So we don't have much of a time for me to go deep into that. But I believe I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, you have. We have one more question. Let me
All
quickly
right, please.
bring it up. Yes. Says, Ma, what if in a case where the person doesn't want to listen to your advice, what do you do?
Okay, like I would always say, I will go back to what I said to promise. Sometimes you think that you are somebody's friend, but they are not seeing you as your friend, as a friend. Friendship should be mutual. In as much as I say that
Yeah.
I live my life with this principle that I don't expect anything from anybody, nobody owes me anything. But then if I say that I'm your friend, I believe that I owe you loyalty. I believe that I owe you the ability to, stand in the gap for you where I need to stand in the gap for you. I believe that as your friend, I need to be true to you. Now, if somebody doesn't want to listen to your advice, it could mean that number one, they don't see you as a friend, they don't value that relationship. Number two, it could mean that your approach to telling them is very wrong. You have a wrong approach to telling them. The Bible says that soft answer turneth away wrath. Sometimes you are the problem, and other times the person is the problem. So if you know that this person, you've been trying to talk to them, you ask yourself, how am I speaking to this person? How am I speaking to this person? Am I speaking to this person in the right way I should speak to them? In a way that they would understand? Or you are coming with judgment, you are coming with ready to fight. Some of us think you're advising people, actually judging them. So if you are very sure that the problem is not with you and the problem is with the person, and you've tried to advise the person, then I will tell you for free, that person doesn't deserve to have you as a friend. So this is just a vague question. There are different contexts to it. There are some contexts where you've spoken to the person and the person doesn't want to change their way or lifestyle. After you make sure I have a principle to resolving issues, which I coined from the Bible. The first thing is make the person know their offense. That is one. Don't tell another person somebody else's offense without telling that person. If you've spoken to the
Yeah.
person in the most civil way, in the most respectful way, and they are not ready to resolve the issue, and you know that you still feel hurt, speak to another person that is like a leader that you think the person respects, or a co-friend. If that person still doesn't listen to that friend, then the Bible should speak to one more person that is like a leader of you. You like, maybe there's somebody that is like a top leader above you people. Do you understand? If that person doesn't still want to listen to the advice, then you cannot love anybody more than God loves them. I've learned that the hard way. And you cannot love anybody more than they love themselves. If they don't see reason, then let them learn the hard way. Just don't let that bother you again. Forgive them sincerely and move on with your life. That's it. Else you keep holding on to grudges and having hard grief and all of that kind of stuff. So just move on with your life if you know that this person is not going to listen to your advice, and you know that you're not the problem. You're not the one speaking to them in a harsh manner without respecting their emotions. Even if you want to tell somebody that somebody did something bad, except it's something very gruesome, you need to tell them in the most civil way. But when you see that the issue is not with you and you try to speak to them, just let them be and put them in a place that they need to be. You can be praying for them from afar, but move on with your life and don't let that bother you.
Wow, that's very beautiful. Thank you so much, ma'am. I hope honor her promise, Jizobam. I hope you were able to listen and to pick one or two from the responses that we had. Okay, we have one more question. Please keep your
All
questions
right.
coming in so that we can round up. We have one more question. It says, how do you stay present when communicating with someone? There are times that your mind will wander away in the middle of a conversation. How do you practice active listening in such situation?
All right. I love the questions you were asking me. So there's something I call commanding your focus, right? I know they tell us to focus. Oh, focus. Oh, focus. But nobody teaches you how to focus. The first thing you want to be aware of is, why am I being distracted? You need to ask yourself, what's making me feel distracted? So for some persons, it's their phone that's making them distracted. How do you put, can you put that question up again? I just want to keep seeing it there. Please, can you put that question up again?
Sorry.
All right, thank you. Thank you, it's fine. So how do you stay present? Number one is you stay present by identifying what is making you lose your focus. That's the first way to stay present. So am I losing my focus because this is not a good time to talk? And this person just wants to have this conversation with me. Do you understand what I'm saying? So maybe somebody wants to talk to you quickly and it's not a good time for you to talk, but your mind is where you are going to. It is better you tell them that, please, can we have this conversation later? It's not a good time for me to talk. Number two could be that maybe your phone is vibrating or something, or there are notifications coming up. Put your phone aside when you're speaking to somebody. Learn to be present. Like when I mean present, learn to command your focus. Another way you can, you can actually build that focus is by maintaining eye contact. There is no way I'll be maintaining eye contact with you intentionally so that my mind will not be on what you're saying. Maintain eye contact, sit in the right position, don't slouch when you are speaking to somebody, right? Maintain eye contact with them and give them feedback with your body language. So nod from time to time, engage them and say, okay, all right. Do you mean to say this? Put yourself in that conversation. Command your focus as much as your mind is wandering off. Command your focus and be back and put yourself back in that conversation. These things are not difficult if you really want to practice them. Tell yourself that you have just 20 minutes to talk to this person, or 30 minutes to talk to this person, and you want to make it worthwhile. So command your focus as much as you are getting distracted. But the first key is understanding what is making you get distracted when you are speaking to that person. You cannot provide a solution when you've not found the problem or the root cause of the problem. So why am I not being focused with this person? Why am I losing my focus as I'm speaking to this person? All right. You want to be aware of the reason you are not listening to the person. And when you're aware of that thing, you can put away that distraction for the few minutes or seconds that you have to speak to that person. You put your focus, you tell the person that, okay, I just want to put my focus here. You tell yourself rather that I want to put my focus here and give them my attention for the time being that I am going to be speaking to them. So that is how you practice active listening, mindfulness, being aware, putting yourself in that, actively putting yourself in the conversation, taking away distraction, right? Letting them know that you listen to them, putting your heart to it, actually. Taking off any distraction, your phone, put it away. Whatever, put it away. If you know that that place you are speaking to the person is really distracting, you can tell the person that I'd like if we can like move a bit away from here. But please don't move to a place that is too close, especially if it's with the opposite sex or somebody that you know might you're not really strong with or something. Just learn to understand different contexts and how you can, manage each unique situation. I want to know if I was able to answer this person's question. I don't know if I was able to answer your question. I can no longer see promise. Uh, can no longer see promise, and I cannot see the chat. I don't know if there's anybody.
So I'm so sorry for that break in transmission. I don't know what happened. I was just logged out, but I'm back here. You can continue, ma. I'm sincerely sorry.
All right, I've answered the person's question. I just want to
Can
know
you hear me?
if the yes, yes. Can you hear me? Can you hear
Yes,
me?
yes, yes.
Promise. Okay, I've answered the person's question.
Yes,
I
I
just
can.
want to get I want to get an affirmation if like my response was okay, like my response gave them the answer that they needed.
Your response. Yes, you did. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, you're welcome. So does anybody else have a question?
Do we have any more questions? Okay, I think that would be all for questions. Thank you so much, Ma, for making our time to bless us tonight, for sharing so many amazing insights with us, for sharing from your wealth of knowledge, teaching us so much about emotional intelligence and our key to leading with impact. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation to speak to the volunteers for the 10X Business Conference. We hope to see you at the 10X Business Conference 2025. Thank you for all you do for us. Thank you for all you do
Thank you.
for humanity. See you sometime soon. Good night,
All right
everybody.
then. Bye everyone.
Bye.